So I'm out there shooting some stuff, and Chris, you know this happens, and it's just like sometimes you find that actually you don't find it. This certain person finds you.
They find you.
They find you. If there's a camera in your hand, and the first thing I hear is, "Hey!" I hear it from across the street, busy street, loud, noisy, and I hear him screaming, "Hey, are you from the news?" And I knew where this was going, and I was like, "No, I'm not from the news." Like, leave me alone.
That doesn't matter.
And it doesn't. And you know, when you see a news person, you see like the cameras we have around us. Like they're big cameras. They're not like little iPhones. This is all I had going on a little gimbal.
Well, that's what some people shoot on it for the news now.
It is,
Yeah.
But I mean, usually you see like the setup, you see a bright light, and that attracts them like flies. You know, it's like, oh, there's the news, and so I'm like, and so he goes again. What station are you with? And I'm like, I'm not with a station. I'm not the news. I'm like doing everything because I know where this is leading, and I'm like, I'm not with the news, and I don't know how he saw it. It's just this little thing, and it's on the ground. I'm not even holding it. I have it stationed on the ground to get this time lapse that I'm working on. And so then he comes, he's like, I'm coming over to you. I was like, no. And I mean, I'll make this story quick, but he came over, he starts telling me, I've got a story to report to you. It's a complete crap. And he wasn't using these nice words that I'm using. Let's put it that way. And I was like, I'm not the news. And then he looks at my coat. And he sees that it's not a news logo at all. And I go, I'm not with it. He goes, oh, who are you with? I'm like, nobody. I didn't want to say who I was with because I didn't want anything to go on.
Because that'll lead to another thing.
Yes, exactly. I was trying to just be as generic as possible, give as few answers as possible to get this over with. And so I go, I'm just out here having fun, trying the time lapse. He goes, oh, yeah, time lapse. That's a great thing, time lapse. And I'm like, oh, God, don't talk about time lapse. And thank God it didn't. Then he goes, let me shake your hand. And because I'm still not used to it, I reached out and I shook his hand.
Ooh.
And I'll just leave it at that. I shook his hand, and let's put it this way. I didn't touch anything until I got back in the car and I put like a lot of sanitizer on it. But the funny thing is...
That's probably...
honestly, I feel like even in a
non-COVID
time, I would have went for the fist bump.
I don't know. It was so fast. It happened right there. I was just like, okay, yep, here we go. Shaking the hand. So I shook the hand. But then he's like trying to just finesse his way through, trying to tell me his story. I was like, no, I'm not with the news. I really don't care about your story, as nicely as I could say it. And by the end of it, he was about ready to leave. He goes, oh, hey, you want some of this? And I was like, oh, shoot, here comes drugs. I'm like, here comes the drugs. And then, no, it wasn't that, but he had like one of those...
you were saying like a hard
White
seltzer.
Claw, yeah, like a White Claw. It wasn't White Claw exactly, but one of those hard seltzer type things. And I was like, hey, man, thanks a lot, but you know what? I don't drink. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy it. He goes, okay, man, awesome. Well, I got a story if you want. I'm like, I'm good. I appreciate it. I'm time lapse. And he goes, okay, time lapse. We'll see you. So he walks away. I was just like, oh, it could have been a lot worse because I've gone through a lot worse.
Oh, it could have been a lot worse.
I can't imagine what you got to go through because you got to wear all the stuff and you've got the big camera going with you.
Yeah, I've had a few run-ins. There was one guy I remember in particular. I don't remember what his stick was, but he was talking about like magnets and something he was doing with magnets.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not sure. I can't remember the details of what he said he was doing, but his whole thing was he works between the magnets. He's like, that's what I do differently is I work between the magnets. And I was just kind of like, it was one of those things where I didn't know whether this guy was completely insane or a genius.
Yeah.
And like, I was just not grasping what he was saying. Oh. But that was the same type of thing. And that was back in the day when they used to use the big truck with the pole that goes up in the back.
Yeah. So that's just calling out to everybody.
That thing just attracts. I mean, we had people come in and just sit down in the truck and start talking to us and stuff like that. And once they're in, it's real hard to get rid of them too.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and cameras anywhere. Yeah, people see a camera. It's just.
And it's just the people that...
It's the people that shouldn't be on camera.
Exactly. Yes. I feel like when I see a camera, I avoid a camera.